Suddenly a shout came from the front. Get down, they are shouting at the bus. These lines brings the auditory imagery to us. Kumar Sangakkara uses the literary device simply to merge us to the gun attack incident like firecrackers. We can also see the use of simile in these lines too. The bullets started to hit. It is like a rain in a tin roof. The bus was at a standstill, an easy target to the gunmen. He also creates the atmosphere to us which they had faced in Pakistan. Here we can see the risk of the players in the gunshot incident. His description of the reaction of the players creates a sense of immediacy and high drama. Taranga Paranavidana on his debut tour is also next to me. He stands up, bullets flying all around him, shouting, I have been hit. As he holds his blood-soaked chest, he collapsed onto his seat, apparently unconscious. In the speech, Kumar Sangakkara reveals his patriotic feeling about the debut player Taranga in this para. I see him and I think, oh my God, you were out first ball, run out the next innings, and now you have been shot. What a terrible first ball. He displays his sportsmanship and their ability to face emergencies which they have learned through the game of cricket. And when he says, there was no insane panic. There was absolute clarity and awareness of what was happening at the moment. He also explained the moment of being safe from the attack. I hear the bus roar into life and start to move. Dilson is screaming at the driver, drive, drive. We speed up, swear, and are finally inside the safety of the stadium. After that, Kumar Sangakkara explains the emotions of the player at the stadium after the attack. Tilan is helped off the bus in the dressing room. There's a mixture of emotions as anger, relief, joy. Players and coaching staff were being examined by the paramedics. Tilan and Parnavidana was driven to hospital by the ambulance. The reaction of the players are the natural emotional expressions after the attack they faced on Lahore. Here, we can see the mercy mind of Sangakkara about his teammates. It is with a sense of relief that he says they survived the attack. How they survived the attack. We all sit in the dressing room and talk about what happened. Within minutes, there is laughter and the jokes have started to flow. We have for the first time been a target of violence. We have survived. Here, Sangakkara claims the change of mind of the players in the safer place after the attack. The sportsmanship is again displayed when he says, we were shooted. Grenades were thrown at us. We were injured and yet we were not cowed. We were not down and out. We are Sri Lankan. Here, he continuously shows the patriotic feeling to his country for the audience. We can also see the team spirit of the players too. Sangakkara had displayed many qualities of a leader in this incident, such as tactfulness, patience, sense of responsibility, etc. Our emotions help to our role as unofficial ambassadors. He also displays humbleness, the greatest quality of a leader when he reflects on that what the soldier had said to him about dying in action. How can this man value his life less than mine? His sincerity was overwhelming. I felt humble. The respect which had given by the soldier to Kumar Sangakkara shows the curiosity in cricket, and the desire to the cricket players had evoked the cricket mind of the Sri Lankans. He also mentioned that his career in cricket had brought him worthy feeling because of the love had given by the Sri Lankan to him. Sangakkara's speech about the Lahore attack makes us experience the real nature of terrorism while highlighting some sterling qualities of Sangakkara as a leader, as a sportsman, above all as a Sri Lankan. Sangakkara firmly believes that cricket has provided an avenue for Sri Lankans to overcome the brutality of war, torture of persecution. He's adamant that his people can become a peaceful and proud nation, healing itself from within and taking its long-awaited place on the world stage with confidence and courage. In the end, I would like to say Kumar Sangakkara as a good cricketer, humanist, multilingual speaker. He maintains a great connect with all type of people. That we can say the quote of the soldier about Kumar Sangakkara creates a great sympathy to us about him too. After reading this text, we can get a patriotic feeling to our world as a global citizen. And sports help the players to build a strong character. Players are both mentally and physically strong. They are able to manage hardships in their lives much more than the ordinary man. So tough. This is the first time the cricketers faced attack on them or the violence on them. They were able to manage the situation because of their sportsmanship and team spirit. The terrorists were able to injure them, but they could not kill them. The sportsmanship of the team players had saved them from the gunshot by the gunmen. And finally, thank you all for listening me. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you, Sahityan, for your wonderful presentation. You organized your presentation well. Now, I would like to call Thamlinpan to speak on the poem Eagle by Alfred Lord Tennyson. To speak. Now I would like to call Bania to speak on the topic War is Kind and present your presentation well.
Good evening, everyone. Today I am going to present about the poem War is Kind by Stephen King. The title suggests us the war is kind, but Stephen Crane says that in the whole idea, war is not kind is mainly focused in this poem. As Stephen Crane is an American poet who lived during the Civil War, he also used to experience the war in that time period. In the 19th century, before his death, he had died in the 29th of his age by the tuberculosis. He used to see the war with his two eyes in his experience of the biography. So that we know that Stephen Crane brings out a whole idea about the war and his attitudes and the harshness behavior of war towards young men. Let's analyze in detail about the stanzas of this poem. First of all, the narrator tells that do not weep, maiden, for war is kind. Maidens means unmarried girl, so that the narrator is asking the unmarried girl to do not weep, so that it clearly indicates that the maiden is crying for something he has lost due to war. Because in the second uh, line, he suggests the reason why the maiden is crying because your lover threw wild hands towards the sky. Usually, most of the soldiers who go to war usually throw wild hands in the towards the sky. It means the dead upcoming the dead which prevailed in this whole area of the war. And the frightened steed ran along, do not weep, war is kind. Frightened steed mean a horse. Usually in that time period, horse are probably used in that war zone, so that even though the soldier died in the battlefield, the frightened steed, as even the first vital beat is saved in that harsh moment. So it indicates the accuracy of the war that only the soldiers are focused on the war, not the innocent animals are hurt in the war too. So the strident beast ran on alone. Alone indicates that the emotional, sentimental sympathy towards the soldier in the reader's mind. And in the last two lines seem to be a fragment of refrain that it repeats in the whole stanzas as do not weep war is kind. It indicates the main whole idea of the poem by a paradox, or it can be also indicates as irony. In the next stanza, horse bombing drum of the regiment. Usually in that time period, Americans used to bombing drums. It indicates that the young men should be very boasted and should encourage them as drumming of their national flag and telling the some emotional truth about them and their nation country, so that the auditory and the visual imagery is contrasted between them in this stanza, as little souls mean the young men who thirst for fire. Usually we know that young men do not understand the whole idea and do not understand what is war and its harshness. So for their only for their adventurous life, they choose as a soldier and went to war and die soon. Even the little souls have a lot of life to live in this planet. Due to the war, they lived even the old people can live a long life in the earth without being attached to the war. So the little bears are the quickness and the uh, uh, misunderstanding in this mind is indicated in these lines. These men are born to drill and die. Usually in the camps and the the soldiers are harshly treated and the trainings are difficult too. So that they seem to be build up their mind and the physical strength as a war machine. Usually war machine doesn't have emotional about their killing, and usually machines do not have emotions, so that these men are also becoming emotionless and very harsh in that rude manner. And the unexplained glory flies about them. Usually, men think that if we die for our country, gives glory to us as we are dying for our country. So the unexplained glory flies about them as they are a soldier or they are dying for our country. In the final line of the second stanza, it says that great is the battle god, great and his kingdom. In the last line, the kingdom is not ended in a full stop or a something else. It doesn't end up in a full stop as the usual stanza end. So that it indicates the enjoyment is starting in the next stanza. So that it indicates great is a battle god and great and his kingdom means the soldiers are seem to be the victims of the great war, and the Mars usually in the Greek mythology Mars is the battle god and the great is metaphorically indicates the planet Mars in the poem. This kingdom a battlefield where 1,000 crores alive. It is an enchantment as we should read it without stopping or anywhere so that we can understand the whole idea. We otherwise we shouldn't understand it because this kingdom of battlefield 1,000 crores lie. Then we understand that even though it is a battle god, it is full of harshness and unkind. As thousands of people are dying in the field without nothing. So do not be bay for war is kind. In the second first Samsa, the narrator asks the maiden, the unmarried girl, to not to weep. Here he asks the bay to no, do not weep. So the relationships of the soldiers are conveyed here as the sentiment towards the soldiers in the reader's mind to is increased in these lines as the even in every poems if a relationship is connected it the poem is should be a emotional thing. So here also the narrator want to tells that do not be brave or war is fine because your father trembled in yellow trance cracked his breast culled and died. uh, then he introduced her fathers as a he also a soldier and trampled in yellow trance. Yellow trance means symbolically indicates the illness or sickness or death. Even a death can be indicated as the color yellow. Uh, so that the father seemed to be very harshly died in the battlefield as gulf means breathing the last breath and died. Usually people wanted a happy death at the end of his life, but her father, uh, without any knowing and without her willingness, he died with many pains in his body and injuries. So it indicates that irony in the title of the poem was kind. So it creates a contrast in the reader's mind as war is kind in the reader's mind as a rhetorical function. Here also do not be war is kind. It is a refrain which the narrator want to emphasize the idea in the every semta to the readers as well. In the next, sweet blessing of the flag of the regiment. As in the second lines, the Americans bombing drums for the regiment. Here they flag the the flag of eagle with crest and red and gold to the in front of the soldiers to in order to encourage them. And the reputation of these men are born to drill and also indicates the harsh behavior of the war machines. Point for them the virtue of slag, make plain for them the excellence of killing. Here, the narrator want to create a paradox in these lines. As virtue means is a thing which people usually do very in a happy way, or good people do the thing we wish good people do a virtue. Usually people become to be a virtue in this life so that this war is also seen to be a virtue of slaughter. Slaughter means killing someone in a very harsh way. So the war is indicated as a virtue of slaughter and makes plain to excellence of killing. it creates paradox because killing is an excellent thing and slaughter is not a virtue. But here it tells us slaughter is a virtue and killing is excellent. So the narrator want to paradoxically tells that the war is a very dangerous thing to even in the emotional and the physical of the humans. In the last chamsa, he uh, want to tell about the another relationships of the sailor as a mom. Usually, mom are the person who loved his son very much as anyone couldn't. So, mother whose heart hung humble as a burden. When mother seems his son died of the in front of him, we should know his emotional feelings and his the sadness and harsh mental stress of the mothers is emphasized in this poem. Even though usually people should express their feelings outwards, uh, without that they can't. They will be suffering of that pain inside their mind. So that here also the mother heart hung humble as a button. He does not express his emotional feeling outwardly as he thinks it is a glory uh, for this country for his son to die. So bright splendid sword of his son means the the cloth which is used to cover the dead body of the soldier which died in the battlefield. Usually, bright pendant are covered all the dead bodies which are uh, ended on the battlefield. So the mother in front of his son we are covering with that white cloth. He seemed to be motionless and speechless. Here also the narrator asks the mother to do not be Varis kind. Even though here the whole poems relate three main relationships. One is unmarried girl and other is father and the daughter, then son and the mother. So here the narrator want to tell that war is not kind in relation to the three relationships of the soldier in the whole idea. Mhm. Thank you for hearing.
Thank you, Banian, for your wonderful presentation. Next, I would like to call upon Tamlinman to talk about the poem The Eagle by Alfred Lord Tennyson.
Good evening, all of you. Thank you for everyone for giving me a chance because uh, today I am going to speak about the poem of the eagle. The poem is written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. There are 6 lines in the poem. The poem is about the eagle. Tennyson was English poet. The eagle is powerful poem that captures and majesty. Tennyson used a number of poetic techniques within the eagle poem. These include alliteration and personification. Personification is a literary device refers to projection of human characteristics. Alfred Tennyson was poet in the Victorian era, which came after Romanticism. The first line of subject is using a personal pronoun and personification. The eagle, a person, a wild nature power. Bring C shows that there is a changing of point of view. Eagle are large and powerful bird of prey. They have large crooked beaks and excellent. They also powerful talents which help them catch prey. Eagles build their own high cliffs or in the tall trees. There are over 60 different species eagle in the world. Thank you for everyone listening to this.
Thank you, Tamlinpan, for your wonderful presentation. Now I would like to call Pradhaini to present on the poem To the Evening Star by William Blake. Now I would like to call Tarunigar to speak on the poem To the Evening Star by William Blake.
Good evening to you all. I'm going to present about the poem To the Evening Star. It was written by William Blake, who lived in Romanticala. He was born on 28 November 1757 in London. He was an English poet, painter, and printmaker. He wrote many English poems. In these poems, To the Evening Star poem is a very interesting poem and the important poem. To the Evening Star is an ode to Venus. According to Greek mythology, Venus is considered to be the Roman goddess of love, beauty, and fertility. We all know Venus is the second planet of our solar system and the sister of the Earth planet. Its poem is a sonnet by the Romantic poet. Sonnets means the poem which have 14 lines. The title of this poem is To the Evening Star. Here the word to indicates that the narrator speaking directly to the evening star for protect them from the evils of night and any other problems. Now we look at the summary of this poem. Here the narrator directly describes the eagle as an angel because he thinks angel is protect the country. So he also think the evening star also protect the nocturnal beauty of nature. So he describes the evening star as an angel. When the sun rests behind the mountains, the star will appear in the sky and give a brightness for them. Then she put on her radiant crown and smiled upon their evening bed. The poet requests the star to smile on their loves and let her westward in sleep. And the poet says the evening star draws the blue curtains of the sky and scatters with silvery dew on every flowers. When the flowers shut their eyes in timeless sleep, the evening star blesses them with her silvery dew. In the night sky, the evening star will disappear very soon. So then the lion and the wolf ways come from the dark forest. So the poet finally requests the evening star to protect their fleeces of flux with her influence. Now we look at this poem line by line. In this first line, the word thou means you. Here in this word thou, the all letters are capital. So we call this is capitalization. Here the phrase, the fair-haired angel of the evening. The narrator describes the evening star as an angel of the evening. Because the angel is protect the country, so the evening star also protect the nocturnal beauty of nature. Here the evening universally symbolizes the prevailing program. Here the poet give feminine characteristics to the evening star and adds a personification. Personification is a literary device that refers to the projection of human characteristics onto inanimate objects in order to create imagery. Now we look at the second line. Here in the second line, the word now reminds the reader about a significant function of the time which is prevails in the poem. Here the narrator says the sun rests on the mountains. Here the sun, we all know sun is an inanimate object, but the narrator gives human characteristics to the sun by saying rest. So we call this also personification. Here, light is a verb which expected by fulfilled by the Venus. Now we look at the third line. Here in this third line, the word die means jewel. So the poet requests a star to give a brightness for them. And here the punctuation mark is middle of this line. So we call this is Kashura. Now we look at this fourth line. Here in this fourth line, the narrator says the evening star draws the blue curtain of the sky. That means the sky looks like a blue curtains. On one hand, silvery dew can be indicated as holy water, and on the other hand, the silver is shining gray color can be indicated the sadness. Now we look at the fifth line. Here in this fifth line, the narrator says that evening star put on her radiant crown and smile on their evening bed. Here the evening emphasizes the problems and bed emphasizes the world. So the evening bed means the world which fulfilled by the problems. Now we look at the seventh, eighth, and ninth line. Here the eyes and shuts are two more personification. When the flowers shut their eyes in timeless sleep, the evening star blesses them with her silvery dew. Here, the word timeless sleep and timeless sleep is a way to death, and the west winding is another way to avoid for the dead. Here the poet requests star to let's go west wind sleeping. Now we look at the 10th, 11, and 12 line. Here the poet requests a star to speak with her glimmering eyes, and evening star will disappear in the sky very soon. Then the lion and the wolf race come from the dun forest. Here the wolf is a grey predator which indicates the darkness of the forest, and gold lion is shining which indicates the lightness of the dark forest. Here the soon is a repetition which emphasizes the urgency prevails in the poem. Now we look at the last two lines. Here the last two lines brings that the poet finally requests a star to protect their fleeces of flux with a high influence. Here the metaphor also used. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Tarnika, for your wonderful presentation. You did a great job. Now I would like to call Sadhujiga to present on the poem The Eagle by Alfred Lord Tennyson.